The topic I prepared for today is from Agile to outcome driven. What's wrong with it? Isn't Agile outcome driven? It should be. Okay, we will talk. I'd like to start with very important questions. First of all, who's she? Is that the Sleeping Beauty? No? Not yet. Not yet. It was longer. Pocahontas? No, it's Daenerys Stormborn from the House Targaryen, Mother of Dragons, Protector of Seven Seas, etc., etc., etc. I had ambition to learn the entire title of her. I didn't. Why I'm bringing her up over here? Because I had the privilege of rewatching the TV show, The Games of Thrones, recently, and I thought, this is about agile transformation. It's like each season, one by one. It's awesome. So it starts with a great promise. Very happy world. Everybody would be cool. Now, few months later, we may end up thinking, well, that was a good guy. It was a good guy. For a reason, dies at the end of the first season. Maybe the new organization wasn't for him. Hard to say, really. But as we go deeper and deeper into the agile transformation, we may realize that there's a lot of politics. People just talking, and actually focusing on many things, trying to jeopardize all the effort towards the new great agile world. And finally, there's that one hero that wants us to be great, wants agility to win. He didn't. It was the semi-sweet kind of ending for himself of the entire series. And at the end, of course, we all remember, all of who watched the Games of Thrones, the last great battle, as if there was no light on the stage, dark ages, and technically it's a great success, but practically we don't really know what to think about it. So I thought it's a very nice segue to what I want to talk about today, because in this presentation, I will not tell you what good looks like, because I believe in the spirit of agility. It's unique. Each company has to define it on their own. However, it's so easy to point out all the problems, the pitfalls that are related to Agile, but not necessarily embedded in Agile. So I'd like to offer here my subjective, and who knows me knows, understands it, critical choice of important factors that agility brings to the stage, and because of them, quite often fails. Let's start with the first one. Effectiveness, a topic that was brought up here several times already. Isn't it that we want effectiveness when we bring Agile? I'd like to say no, we don't. So I know a lot of Agile coaches, consultants, Scrum Masters saying that what you need, dear customer, or what you need, my manager, is effectiveness. But in my practice, I've seen over the last 15 years, maybe one, maybe two customers really looking after it. Two customers really need that really needed value. Just to be clear, tricky words. Effectiveness is not the same as efficiency. Effectiveness is all about value, right? It's about money, return on investment, customer satisfaction, net promoter score, and so on and so on. Efficiency is about the speed, how fast you are in delivering things. And Agile preachers quite often say, focus on effectiveness, because if what you produce is a piece of crap, if you focus on efficiency, you would produce a piece of crap faster, in a more efficient way. The problem is, at least looking at my practice, I rarely see customers, managers, stakeholders asking for that. And there's a very important reason. Efficiency is clearly visible. We know when's the deadline and whether we missed the deadline or we didn't miss the deadline. Now, value, whatever outcomes, results from products or services we produce, are very rarely observed on deadline, quite often later. So if the deadline is end of April to deliver software, It's clearly visible we did or we didn't deliver it by the end of the month. But when we deliver the software, whether customers are happy, they use it, but we have return on investment, we will not see it on deadline, weeks or months later. And all project management processes, a lot of governance related to it, care more about efficient process, not effective. Imagine yourself renovating your kitchen or renovating your bathroom. The question you're asking yourself is, or not yourself, is people that will do it for you, when it will be done. How much it would cost, not how my mother-in-law will be happy 3 months later when she will arrive to Easter or Christmas and we'll visit our new kitchen. We are not talking about that value. We don't care about it. So I think it's a very, very big problem of many of Scrum Master, Agile coaches, Agile professionals to talk a lot about effectiveness and ignore efficiency. Your customers, your organization quite often simply doesn't care about effectiveness, not yet. We need to learn more. And I saw a lot of terrible Agile, not even transformation, trials where after half a year or a year of not delivering anything and not delivering a lot of value either, because efficiency, if it's efficiency is low, effectiveness would be low eventually as well. The entire initiative of Agile transformation was ramped down because there was no value, no outcome, no output at all. I think there's something about efficiency we often forget. And that's one of many topics I'd like to bring up. Let me move toward. So what's wrong with empowerment? Technically nothing. Agile is all about empowerment. We want to empower our teams. The problem is that that's not what Agile is about. Agile is not about empowering teams down there at the bottom of the ladder, at the bottom of the organization hierarchy. It's about empowering relevant people to making decisions. Sometimes relevant people are teams, sometimes somebody else. So whenever we talk about empowerment, I always ask empowerment to what? To making decisions. Very simplifying very much, I'd like to say that we can distinguish at least 3 levels in all organizations. Executives, managers of all the levels and teams. So quite often empowerment means we invest a lot into teams. We want to empower teams, while many decisions should be made by the best informed people closer to these decisions that are not here on the level of teams. They are over here. These are managers. A group that I often work with, a group of people that typically is not, nobody invests in them. If you invest in Agile, teams are trained. Managers, not so much, just a bit. I think it's a big mistake. Sometimes managers are closer to the work. Some managers are those who are empowering. Let me share a story with you. A year or 2 years ago, I had the privilege to work with 3 actually vice presidents in quite a big company in the UK. And I realized that what they are doing is job of teams over here. The teams were obviously complaining about the governance, all the processes that were limiting them. And the teams said, we can't do much about it. Yeah, I understand that. When I went 1, 2 step up on the ladder, so line managers, project managers, product managers, they complained about the same governance process because they were bounded by it. So I went up the senior vice president level vice president, guess what? They complained that they can't do anything about the governance. So I was starting to think governance, the rules of the game, aren't they set by middle managers or even executives? I think if I went to CEO or to shareholders, they would say we are not accountable for governance either. That was a big mistake. I saw a vice president, so a person that I believe should think where my team, my organization will be in 2-3 years from now. Solving conflicts on the team level, should it be Java or C#, really? I believe that person is completely incompetent to make the decision, but nobody wanted to make it here. It was escalated, and pretty senior person close to the executive team were to make the decision that could have been easily made down here, not down here, down here around the level of management. So empowerment, it's great, but let's be serious about what empowerment means over here. Not just investing into teams and making them accountable for decision making, but actually looking at the entire chain of command, if I may say so. What's next? Yeah, that's what I said. I was looking for that particular picture when we talk about continuous improvement. This mechanism cannot work. Can you see it? When you move one cog over here, it won't work. It's completely crashed. What's wrong with continuous improvement? I would say not much, not much. I have no problem with continuous improvement. The problem I see is, especially in agile organizations, not lean organizations, even not traditional organizations. Agile organizations quite often focus on very team-focused improvement and process-level improvement. So we want step by step in an evolutionary way, improve our processes starting from teams, which is great, but in many cases, not sufficient, not enough in other words. I'm very far away from a statement, we need a revolution in every organization. But sometimes we really do. That's my point. Sometimes it would take us years, evolutionary step by step to improve our situation, while that could be simply done with redesign of the organization. It reminded me a company here in Poland, in Upper Silesia the region. There was a company producing 66, 67, something like that, digital products, having only 3 product managers looking after them. So roughly 20, 22 products per product manager. And they wanted to introduce Agile for teams, obviously. And my first impression was, why guys, why the 3 of you managing 64 products? We can, of course, introduce Agile. We have teams for each of the product. Maybe let's take a look at that picture. And after several meetings, not a lot of time, less than a month, we realized they don't need 50 of the products or so, because there were products for one customer only, or a product that was maintained for years with no other updates. Actually, streamlining that area and making it leaner, they went down eventually to 8 or 9 products, was a very good organizational redesign for them on the level of product portfolio. And that was the relevant moment to start talking about agile teams, continuous improvement. Sometimes a bigger, I don't want to say big bang, a bigger change, redesign of organization is important in order to enable evolutionary change and continuous improvement later. That's it. What's next? If not team focused, it's not process focused, then I prefer focus on the inter-system. That's how we should look at the change, and also focus on what I know, what I understand as outside in change. Very often continuous improvement in organization focuses, it's a very intrinsic view, internal view on our processes. We don't care about customer, for instance, about customer journey, the perspective of those who use our services. If we take this outside view in, our processes would be way smarter, way better. But I think I have a separate topic about it because this is quite important. Now, what is also important is data, obviously, and I realized, looking at my customers at least, there are 2 edge cases. Either they have no data at all, or too much data. I didn't meet any customer with anything in the middle. The problem with data is that if you have no data, you make decisions based on gut feeling. It's no evidence, no brainer here. If you, however, have too much data because you collect it automatically, Jira draws a lot of beautiful, absolutely not important, not necessary charts for us. And I know people staring at it and I have no clue what they think about it. Not sure if you know, but data has one and only one goal. It needs to inform our decision making. Quite often as a consultant, when I work with my customers and I see a metric, my question is, oh, you track NPS, Net Promoter Score, cool. What decision do you make based on it? If no, why do you track it? It's a waste in lean management thinking. So if you can't link a metric to a decision maker and decision to be made, that's something interesting about it. Sometimes people measure what is easy to measure. They don't focus on what is relevant. What I like to say is, first of all, what is important are not only data, but any kind of evidence. Data is one kind of evidence. Experimentation gives us a lot of other opportunities to get evidence, and evidence should inform decision making. I have no time to go into the details, but I believe you understand that we care about both efficiency metrics and effectiveness metrics, and perhaps other types of metrics like quality metrics, maybe any data related to our culture. Another factor would be lagging and leading indicators. For me, it's one-on-one on metrics. You would be surprised, even very senior executives that graduated MBA studies see no difference between lagging and leading indicators. Quite a technical, but nothing really sophisticated. If you're a doubt, feel free to catch me during a break, because that would be too much for half an hour presentation. That's data, evidence, and decision making. That also means that if we want to empower people across the entire organization, these people need to have exposition to data, not the same data, but some data. So if you empower your teams, give them data. If you empower your managers, delivery managers, product managers, give them data or ask them to collect data. All right, hot topic of scaling. This time, I like not to talk about Nexus, LESS, SAFe, or any other frameworks. That's not my point. My point is that in general, when we talk about scale, there are at least two bigger problems or topics we have. First one is related to dependencies. The larger scale, the more dependencies we are, the more dependencies we have, the more problems we have. Also quality issues, that is a byproduct of dependencies that we have. I have a riddle for you. Good Agile or bad Agile? If we have organizations like that, is it good Agile or bad Agile? Bad Agile. Silo teams, I have teams of designers, teams of programmers, team of testers. This is not good Agile. Is this better Agile? Cross-functional teams? Quite often the answer is yes, that's what I hear. The problem is, this is not the end of the story. Quite often we introduce Agile, we have cross-functional teams, and we are happy. The problem with that is, each of these cross-functional teams quite often is accountable for, I hope, one, sometimes more products, product A, B, and C. But there are dependencies among these products very often as well. Imagine a situation you are buying something online. It's an e-commerce system in a browser or your phone. I believe it's a product versus a team working on it. If you buy a product, there's definitely somewhere on the backend part of the retailer another system, another product that looks at the number, at the stocks in the warehouse. We need to know how many tables, chairs, whatever you're buying we have. It's a different program, there's a different application. There's a different application to issue an invoice for you, for instance. So there are many products over here. And whenever I encounter such a situation, quite often my customer says it's one service or one process or one value stream across multiple products. So the fact that we have cross-functional Agile teams doesn't mean we have no dependencies. Actually, it means that some dependencies on the business level are exposed and they need to be managed. Scrum does not manage it. Kanban, to some extent, if we talk about portfolio Kanban or Kanban maturity model, which is one tiny bit of the entire ecosystem of various Kanban approaches and Kanban methods. My example, a recent example from one of companies I support, if you want to get vaccinated, not in Poland, it's a different country, there's a separate system that selects which citizen, who needs to be vaccinated, elderly people and children. Completely different system, completely different program application that sends out the invitation. Another application, very different, that stores data about who got the vaccination. Now, if you change anything in the system, because the Ministry for Health said, okay, now vaccination against seasonal flu will be for free for everybody up to 20 years old, not 18. That means changes to all the products or many of the products in the chain. This is typically not on the radar of Agile while it should have been. What else? Strategic agility, but different aspects of strategic agility, but I'm far away of saying that Agile is for teams only. We all know it's not only for teams, but looking at the applications, we see that all the, or majority of the frameworks that we have, they address the needs of the teams down there, maybe middle management, not necessarily the executive and those up there. From my practice, because I'm sharing only my experience with you today, first of all, it would be awesome if your leadership team, executive leadership team, regional leadership team, role model Agile behaviors, for instance, by using Agile ways of working. I'm far away from putting the board of members into Scrum situation, but Kanban, why not? They have some strategic initiatives. They could limit working progress. So instead of working on 20 strategic initiatives, let's work on 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. They should deliver, they should be transparent, and so on and so on. You would be surprised how many senior leadership teams are not teams at all. They're a group of people with their own job, without not a lot of interaction or working together, actually updating updating each other. This is kind of waste. So solutions like portfolio Kanban, flight levels from Klaus Leopold work, that would be something I like to promote over here. I don't want to talk much about the governance because Ewa Koprowska, I think, fully discussed this topic yesterday, but we can't forget it either. Governance, so the general rules of the game, not necessarily related to Agile processes, Agile frameworks, but broader, they need to be changed. And if a company introduces Agile, Scrum, even Waterfall, whatever you introduce, you need to also focus on governance and address these concerns. Without that, or without starting with that, you're set up for failure. And the problem I have with Agile, not agility, is this is not addressed. If you look at even SAFe, that has an ambition to address all the levels of the company, governance as such is just touched. That's the problem. And finally, one tiny topic that I like to bring up is procurement. Could be part of, I could add HR and incentive policies, all the other stuff, but procurement is quite bold when I look at my customers, at least. So I'm a product manager, product owner even, let's say so, and I found out a new great opportunity on the market, and I have money, which is rare, and I want to implement these 7 extra features right now. Because of that, I need a new supplier, because my team, I have just 10 people, I need 10 more people. I'm calling supplier, do you have 10 guys for me? Yes, I have them, cool. Can I start the development tomorrow? No, because I hit the procurement processes. Half a year later, they're still reviewing the second amendment to the contract. And maybe 9 months, in big corporations, this is typical, half a year, 9 months. Maybe they will sign the contract and these people will send to me lost business opportunity. This is what it means. This is what that situation makes. We have a Swiss, I believe, Swiss invention known as lean agile procurement. Not familiar with that, but there are many other different concepts that would help us address agility, business agility of the company, also from the perspective of our procurement. So how we buy goods, how we buy resources, how we buy whatever we want. All right, that was me complaining or sharing with you my subjective choice of what is wrong whenever we want to implement Agile. Let's go a little bit deeper. Have you heard about Agile? That is dead. It's a funny story. A few months, maybe a year ago, I happened to be in a training session with McKinsey people. A few people from McKinsey was there, and we had a random chat about this new movement on the LinkedIn known as Agile is Dead. And one of them, he didn't know it, so he started to Google it. And the first article, he said it aloud, the first article he saw, Agile is dead, McKinsey killed it. His own company, but by the way, it was Agile training, right? So I'm far away from stating that Agile is dead, obviously. I'm happy to see that movement because every second article on LinkedIn, you would see somebody claims, don't do Agile, do Agile. Instead of doing Agile, do this, and there are bullet points. And I read the bullet points, this is Agile. This is how you should be agile. This is what you should do, at all. But I'm here to state something different that I also observed for many years. It's a matter of fashion, actually. Fashion, I said. Here it is. Agile is not dead because it's dead, but if you look at biggest fashion trends over the last decade in our region, our domain, so agility, you would say that was SAFe for many years. And SAFe was not promoted because it was very, very good or because it had great marketing and sales team, perhaps as well, but mainly because many very big consulting companies that are trendsetters for the worldwide market, they promoted it. Later, they started to promote the so-called Spotify model. Many years after the Spotify model was announced or created, it was never created as a model, by the way. Nowadays, what I observe, it started over a year ago. It's not SAFe anymore, not Spotify anymore, but something new, completely new. And it looks really, really promising because I haven't seen it yet, it's very new. But if it's implemented well, it may mean that all the troubles I mentioned earlier today might be addressed. There's no one single name for it. I called it selfishly the new operating model, but all these organizations working on new operating model, they're talking about operating models. So not agile, not a framework, but the entire big model, where agility, named agility or not named agility, is just one component over there. Looks really promising, and I hope we will see more of that. I was staring at the next slide for half an hour, thinking, should I show it or not? I will. It's ugly. It's not a model, obviously, but if there is a model, operating model where agility would be included, it could include this and many other topics, not only agile processes, teams, but strategy, organizational design, procurement, governance, all the topics. And if we look at Agile, Agile is there. Agile is here. Agile is in delivery. That's where Agile typically is. Agile is in value-driven development. We talk a lot about it. Agile or value-driven development is not only Agile, there's way more, but Agile is here, and here in many other places. But there are other areas where technically Agile never offered a lot, and that's okay. And that's okay, because there's a big difference between Agile and agility, in my opinion, and that's good. The topic of this conference this year is effectiveness. Is Agile still the answer? And I say, Agile was never the answer. Agile was a hint. But it was never a comprehensive answer saying if we implement Agile properly, we have effectiveness. It was one tiny bit, and perhaps the fact that others were ignored, at least by Agile professionals. That's why others claim that Agile is that. Agile is not a goal, shouldn't be the goal. Business agility could be the goal. Why not? And I think that broader operating models, especially those oriented on product service delivery, not project, that would be really, really helpful in achieving this. And if you have any questions, I'm available for you during the break that we have. I also have a tiny announcement. After 15 years, I was finally convinced to start blogging. My blog does not exist. This is not QR code to my blog, it's to LinkedIn. The page is dead because I have one article only, but I promised myself if I have 3 articles, which will be still this year, I believe, looking at my current pace, lead times, and so on, then I will announce it on LinkedIn. So if you'd like to be in touch, please stay connected over that. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the conference.